Hi, I am Mary, and today I am going to tell you a story that happened at our family barbecue. A story that started with a joke that shocked everyone and changed everything forever. You clicked on this video because you want to know what was this joke. What exactly did my wife's sister say that made the whole family silent and uncomfortable, right? So stay with me until the end. And if you like stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and help us reach our goal. Now imagine a sunny Sunday afternoon. The smell of grilled meat fills the air. Laughter and chatter surround us. Everyone seems happy, but something feels off, something you don't see right away. But if you pay attention, you notice that not everything is as perfect as it looks. It was during this calm moment that my wife's sister dropped a comment so cold, so unexpected that it froze the atmosphere in an instant. And from that moment, nothing was the same anymore. The joke was sharp, cruel, and left us all stunned. You will soon find out what she said and how it shook our family to the core. So buckle up, because this story is not just about a bad joke. It's about secrets, lies, and emotions that were buried for too long. Now, let's get into what really happened at our family barbecue. The barbecue is supposed to be just a simple family gathering, a chance for everyone to relax and enjoy good food and each other's company. My wife, her sister, and I, along with a few other relatives, were there laughing, joking, and sharing stories. But even in the middle of all that laughter, there was something strange brewing beneath the surface. My wife's sister was acting a little different, not openly hostile, but there was a tension in her eyes, something heavy and unspoken that you could feel, but not quite explain. At first, I thought maybe it was just a bad day or stress from work, but the more I watched her, the more I realized she was holding something inside, something she wasn't ready to share. The rest of the family seemed unaware, or maybe they chose to ignore it to keep the peace. Everyone was caught up in the joy of the day, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was about to break, something that would change the whole atmosphere. Suddenly, little comments started flying from her, some harmless, others with a sharper edge. As the afternoon went on, the mood slowly shifted from lighthearted fun to something more serious. It was like a storm was gathering right under the bright sun, and no one wanted to admit it yet, but I knew the calm wouldn't last long. The barbecue was more than just grilled meat and drinks. It was the stage for secrets to come to light, for old wounds to be reopened, and for truths to be revealed. But what none of us expected was that it would start with a joke that no one would forget, and that would haunt us long after the last ember died down. As I looked around the yard, I could see smiles trying to hide pain and eyes avoiding each other, and I realized this was not just a family gathering anymore. This was the beginning of something much bigger. Then suddenly, she said it, the sister of my wife, with a cold voice and a smile that did not reach her eyes, said, "If you vanished tomorrow, nobody would even notice." The words hung in the air like a heavy fog, and everything went quiet. No one laughed, no one joked. For a moment, it felt like time stopped. The warmth of the barbecue disappeared, replaced by an awkward silence that pressed down on all of us. I looked at my wife, hoping she would say something, hoping to break the silence, but she just looked down and bit her lip. The others exchanged confused and uncomfortable glances, and I could see in their eyes they were trying to decide if it was a joke or something much worse. Those words, those simple, cruel words, were not just a careless comment. They were loaded with years of anger, pain, and resentment that no one wanted to confront. The joke cut deep. It was as if someone had thrown a stone into a calm pond, and the ripples started to spread faster than anyone expected. From that moment on, the atmosphere changed completely. The easy conversation stopped and replaced by whispers and suspicious looks. I started to wonder what had caused her to say something so harsh. Was it really a joke or a warning or maybe a cry for help? Something was clearly wrong between my wife and her sister, and I was caught in the middle, not knowing what was true and what was hidden behind those cold words. I could feel the tension growing like a storm about to burst, and I knew this was only the beginning of a long and difficult story that I had to live and tell. After that cold joke, the air around us grew heavier. Every small word, every glance felt like it carried a secret or a hidden meaning. I tried to keep things light, joking with some cousins, but inside I was watching my wife and her sister closely, trying to understand what had caused that bitterness, that sharp edge in her voice. Then I overheard a conversation. They thought I wasn't listening, something about broken promises and old fights, something I had never known before. I realized there was more between them than just sibling rivalry, a storm of feelings they had kept buried for years, resentment, jealousy, maybe even betrayal. Suddenly, my wife and her sister stepped away from the group, talking in low voices. I couldn't catch all the words, but I heard enough to know they were not just arguing, they were exposing wounds too deep for a family barbecue. Then came the first big twist. I learned that the sister had been feeling ignored, abandoned, as if everyone loved my wife more, and her own pain was hidden behind sarcasm and those cruel jokes. She felt invisible, like she was losing her place in the family, and that hurt was pushing her to say things she did not fully mean, but that cut everyone around her. And just when I thought I was starting to understand the mess, the second twist hit like a punch to the gut. I discovered that my wife had secrets, two secrets that she was afraid to share with anyone, especially her sister. Some of those Secrets were about decisions she had made, without telling. Her sister choices that had broken their trust and made their relationship fragile. The more I learned, the more tangled the web became. I tried to talk to them both separately, but every conversation just opened new wounds and raised more questions. My wife was scared to lose her sister, and the sister was angry enough to push everyone away. I felt trapped in the middle, powerless to fix what was breaking apart in front of me, and the tension was growing so much that even the rest of the family started to notice. Whispers grew louder, and some people began taking sides, but the worst part was that no one really knew what was the truth anymore. Everyone had their version of the story, and none of them fully trusted the others. The barbecue that started as a happy day was turning into a battlefield of emotions and secrets, and I was right there, living every moment wondering how we would get out of this mess without losing each other. Then came the moment that changed everything, the moment when the truth finally broke through the tension. During a quiet pause in the conversation, my wife looked at her sister with tears in her eyes and confessed something she had been hiding for years, a secret so heavy it shattered the fragile silence between them. She admitted that she had made a choice that hurt her sister deeply, a choice that no one else knew about until that very moment. The revelation hit everyone like a thunderbolt. It explained the bitterness, the jealousy, and the cruel joke, but it also opened new wounds between them. The sister felt betrayed not only by the choice itself, but by the fact that it was kept secret so long. In that instant, the conflict moved from a vague tension to a real confrontation, a painful and honest exchange of feelings that no one expected, but desperately needed. It was clear now that the problem wasn't about me or the barbecue or even a silly joke. The real battle was between two sisters, struggling with years of misunderstandings, pain, and unmet expectations. As they talked and cried, the atmosphere shifted again. The storm was still there, but now it was out in the open, and that made it easier to face. But just when I thought we could start to heal, a new twist appeared. The sister revealed that beneath her anger and sarcasm was also a deep fear, the fear of being forgotten, the fear that if she disappeared, no one would even notice. And that made her joke not just a joke, but a desperate cry for attention and connection. It was a heartbreaking moment that made me see both of them not as enemies, but as people hurt and scared, trying to protect themselves in the only way they knew how. As the truth spilled out, emotions exploded. The air became thick with anger, sadness, and frustration. Voices rose, and tears flowed. The sisters confronted each other openly for the first time in years. All the hidden feelings, all the pain, and all the misunderstandings came crashing down like a wave that no one could stop. I tried to step in to calm things down, to remind them we were family, but the tension was too strong to be stopped by words alone. The argument reached a fever pitch. Harsh words flew, accusations were made, and everyone around us felt the weight of the conflict. It seemed like the barbecue was about to end in disaster until an unexpected figure stepped forward. An older relative who had watched quietly from the sidelines now spoke with calm authority and wisdom, reminding us what family really means. This person shared stories from the past, mistakes and forgiveness, and how no matter how deep the wounds, family should be a place of love and support. Suddenly, the fight lost some of its power, replaced by a silence heavy with reflection. The sisters looked at each other differently, as if seeing each other for the first time in a long time. The wise words opened a door for understanding, for a chance to rebuild bridges broken by time and hurt. But the path wasn't easy, and the wounds wouldn't heal overnight. The emotional storm that had consumed us didn't disappear, but it started to change shape, from something destructive to something that could maybe become a lesson about love, pain, and forgiveness. I could see hope flickering in their eyes. Even if fear and doubt were still there, it was a turning point where things could still go either way, and the future of the family hung in the balance. After the storm settled, the atmosphere grew quieter, but something lingered in the air. The sister of my wife apologized softly, but then she said something that caught everyone off guard. She said that even though she was sorry, she wasn't sure if things would ever be the same again, that her joke was more than just words. It was a reflection of how lonely and lost she had felt for a long time. Her pain was real, and it wasn't something that would disappear overnight. We all sat there in silence, realizing that family isn't perfect, that sometimes love comes with scars, and that forgiveness is not always easy, but it's worth trying. I thought about how many times we hide our true feelings behind jokes, sarcasm, or silence, and how important it is to listen not just to words, but to the feelings behind them. As the sun began to set, the barbecue was over, but the story was far from finished. That day taught me that sometimes the hardest battles are the ones we fight with the people we love the most, and that sometimes a joke is a call for help disguised as humor. It made me want to reach out more to those around me, to pay attention to what isn't said as much as to what is said, and to never take family for granted. This story may have started with a cruel joke, but it ended with a lesson about empathy, love, and the power of honesty, and maybe that's what family really means after all. If you like this story, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me bring more stories like this. And if you want to keep watching, there is another video on the screen right now that you will definitely enjoy. Go check it out. And tell me what you think in the comments. I love hearing your opinions and stories because this channel is all about sharing real moments and emotions from families just like yours. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am Mary and I will see you in the next video. Take care.